Title of this workshop is All the Power You Cannot See. So that's the good news. Now, the not so good news is that it's such an intriguing subject, I don't know where to begin. And I'm not kidding you. The older I get now, a couple of things are happening. And one is that I feel much more liberated to teach more about what I've learned through my mystical life, which is the good stuff. The second thing about that is that that's the part of, thank you so much, Beth, that's the part that is most challenging to communicate. So I want to start this evening by saying to you that my intention in creating this workshop is to communicate to you yet again how powerful you are. Because I really do believe that we are living in a time when our entire relationship of how we understand power, of how we comprehend the nature of God, of how we understand our place in the universe, of entering a galactic community, of dismantling our understanding of God as an off-planet male, to shifting to understanding the nature of God as... Oh, stop that. There's no reason for that. This is just evolution, and it served a role. And it served a very important role, and that time has come to an end. But in understanding why it's coming to an end, and all that it will take down with it, it's as significant as understanding if suddenly the oil dollar evaporated, and what that would do to the economy. Because you, this male God, is in your blood and bones, whether or not you know it. And the whole idea that a mythology like bad things only happen to bad people, and what a shame, those innocent people. They shouldn't have been hurt in this or that. All of that comes from your connection to this off-planet male God. So don't think this is going to be an easy pool to get you away from this. Because it is deep in our blood and bones. This is not feminism. This is not any of that junk. This is the serious archetypal threads that hold our universe together. And these are the threads that are coming down. And so when we talk about all the power you cannot see, we're talking about an entire cosmic map that is, I think it's so enormous. And so I really want to begin with an image that I want to implant in you. And that image is that your life is like a train ride. And that when I was a child, I used to really love to fantasize that I would travel the United States on a caboose. Because I thought the caboose was such a cool place. And you'd sit at the end of the caboose and you'd watch the whole world from back here. And it looked so cozy in the caboose. Do you know what I mean? And then I had a dream. Not when I was a child, but recently. One of the most common questions I'm asked, one of the most common things I hear, is that I can't find my path, I've lost my way, blah, 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 something, what am I meant to do? Any of those types of questions are variations of the same thing, which is I'm looking for direction. From the moment you're born, you're on your track. You can't get off your track. So just keep that in your mind. It is impossible. Only death will take you off your track. So picture yourself on this train. Now when you're asking, I don't know what to do, I don't know where I am, you're in the caboose and you're looking the ass end of your life. and you're being dragged by the engine. So you're being dragged. And so you think you have lost your way. You just can't see your tracks. It is impossible for you to get off your track. Only death calls you off your track. There isn't a choice you can make that knocks you off your track. It just locates you in a different car on your train. And if you end up in the caboose, you're in the most powerless place, and you're looking backwards, and you're looking at, and this is what we need to study in this workshop. You're looking at the history of your life, choices you've already made that you didn't realize you made, and the consequences of what those choices have created that you are convinced other people have done to you. And you're watching the whole of your life speed by, wondering, how did I get here? Not realizing that you, in fact, participated either by releasing your power, betraying yourself, compromising yourself. But in each of those situations, somehow or other, you found yourself at the end of your choices instead of being the conductor directing your train. The second thing we're going to talk about, because you don't what I realized is people don't get how powerful everything you think is. Everything you choose is. Every word in your head is. How you interpret everything. How powerful the word no is, or how powerful it is, the attitude with which you get up in the morning. It's all the power you cannot see is the most powerful that there is. It's not, by the time something is manifest, it's history. By the time something is physical, it's history. By the time I get this notebook, the tree is dead. It's already grown. It was planted, grown, harvested, made into pulp, turned into a book. It's dead. So all the choices that made this book are already made. If you look at everything in your physical life and you stop, and this is what Buddhism is so, and you hit the pause button right now, just hit it and stop and just say, what's in my life right now? Everything has already happened. The conversations that might be troubling you have already happened. You're not upset about a conversation that hasn't happened yet. Are you with me? The power that we have is in what's yet to be created, not in what has been created. When all you do is focus on what has yet to be what has been created, you are in the caboose of everything. You're in the caboose of your health. You're in the caboose end of a relationship. You are riding in the caboose. Even when it comes down to solving a problem, you're in the caboose end of the problem because you're looking at it historically. You're looking at how the problem was created, not to move out of it. You're not looking at that. You're just looking at the problem. What a mess, what a mess, what a mess. But not how to unmess it, how to move out. What I learned through my work as a medical intuitive is how difficult it is for people to move up through, to use the train metaphor, to move through the cars on the train and get to a place where you direct the choices in your life. You have to go through your baggage car, and you have to go through your passengers. And there comes a time in life where we have to say to certain passengers, I'm going to stop the train and you have to leave. You have to get off my train. And they will tell you the same thing. You are going to get kicked off of people's trains too. This isn't about, you don't run the universe. You participate in it. So just as many people will tell you, get off my train. Our time has come to an end. It's so funny when I teach this, everybody thinks, that's right, I tell everybody, but no one tells me. But you are mistaken. This is how life is played. We are on each other's trains, and at some point you realize, I am now paying for you to be on my train, and that's not how this works. So I'm going to stop at the next station, and you need to exit. Take your luggage. And if you work with this metaphor, you really get that that's how it is. Because luggage is attachments. And the best way to release something is to realize we've gone as far as we can. And it's time to go, to let go. And then it's time to take on new passengers. And you realize, I think I want you on my train. Get on here. So the choices we make, you learn how to make very clear choices for yourself. And what I learned as a medical intuitive during my time in healing is that making clear choices is the thing that frightens you the most. It terrifies you. That in fact you're more comfortable in the baggage car and in the caboose, and that's what you have to look at, is why all the power you actually have is that in theory you want to be empowered, but practically you sabotage yourself. So what do you think that's about? Why do you do that? And if you answer me in one-word sentences, I'm telling you, you'll see me do it. You'll just see me. Because you'll just say, oh, fear. I'm not interested in that. That much I can put two and two together. When you're going to answer a question, let's have an agreement. When you answer a question, make it a sentence. And make it about yourself. I have a fear of. Because if you want something to change in your life, you have to name it. Saying a fear is just like fear. Oh, yeah, good. What are you talking about? You don't even know what you're talking about. You're giving yourself the easy answer. So let's change the scenario. If you said, I have cancer, and I'll say, what are you dealing with? And you said, fear. You have not helped yourself at all. Nothing. You may as well go eat grass. You haven't helped yourself at all. You have to actually get, as if you're doing a fist fight with your fears, you have to say, I have a fear of the sun going down at 2:32. That is my fear. And I have this fear because of this. And because of this fear, I do this to myself. You have to get that microchip yourself. And it's in this way that you realize how powerful every single thought you have is. It's not until you chase it through yourself in order to pull it out that you get, my God, every single thought is that powerful. And now you start getting how powerful you are, and that every thought you contribute to the universe actually really does make a difference. But it's not until you track your own thoughts and realize all the effort you will go through to avoid tracking your own thoughts that you realize, my God, one thought is the most powerful thing I've got. How could I give the power of my thoughts over to another person? How can I do that? How can I give my capacity to make a decision over to another person? How can I possibly agree with something I really don't agree with? Just to calm the waters. How can I do that? Why would I do that? Why would I give my word and not keep it? And you realize how powerful this is. Because here's something else that I think is absolutely the truth. This is where it's difficult to describe. So if I lose you, put your hands up. I've mentioned this a billion times. That could be an exaggeration, but quite a few. That ever since entering the nuclear age, I think we have gone into exponential change for all kinds of reasons. Not the least of which, and maybe the first of which, is that our survival as a planet and a species is at stake. I'm not an alarmist kind of person. I'm a realist. I'm not an optimist, and I'm not a pessimist. I'm just a hardcore realist. And in observing human beings, one of the core mechanism in us is really the need to survive. And what works with that need to survive is the capacity to create. How are we going to survive this? Well, let's create that. And these two wheels have always, how are we going to stay warm? Oh, look, fire. How are we going to get across this river? Oh, look, a bridge. This is always, But when we entered the nuclear age, it was like Prometheus stealing the fire again from Zeus. Only this time, when we stole the fire, it was with the intention of destroying life. That was what we did. When we discovered nuclear fire, it was with the intention of killing everybody, and we thought it was great. Can you possibly imagine what kind of insane species celebrates its capacity to destroy all of life? Okay, and then has the delusion that if I bomb over there, it won't hurt us, while we spin under the same blanket of oxygen. This is how stupid human beings are. I marvel at their stupidity. I marvel at it. I mean, it makes my jaw drop. It makes my jaw drop. And that's the power of racism. See, our race won't have this, but we can wipe out. All right. I mean, really, I can't even speak. It makes me so. Now, because we stole this fire and decided that what we would do with it is destroy everybody, threaten, hold the nation, hold the planet hostage, why not? That's what we should do. From that point on, we've been chasing the fire. Who has the fire? What nation has the fire? What bargains can we make? Is it Pakistan? Is it India? North Korea? Who has the fire? Who has the fire? Who has the fire? Now, how does the universe work? The universe is not an off-planet God. What it is, though, is very organic. The universe is very organic. You can learn a lot about the nature of God by studying the nature of law and the laws of nature. That's the nature of God. So when we throw ourselves off balance in such an insane way, when we create, remember, create and survive are our two inner wheels. We created means of destruction without being able to create the means to stop that, to heal it. If we nuked our planet, we can't get out of it. So we finally have created something whose destructive power we cannot remedy. We've outdone ourselves, in other words. And that truth has morphed our natures in a deep, archetypal, unconscious way. It has morphed us. And I could just put it across the board about what it's done. And on one hand, what it's caused is it's caused a need for us because we can't create anything that can heal a nuclear war. There's nothing that can heal us. The only thing we can do is evolve into a species incapable of having a nuclear war. And that is how the divine works. We no longer have problems. We have predicaments. Problems are like this. We have a problem here. We don't have enough seats at the dinner table. Oh, I have the solution. One more seat. That's a problem. You are used to thinking problems, there must be a solution. You're not used to thinking in terms of, we have a predicament here. Predicaments don't have solutions. What they have is the challenge that we must change in order to navigate through this incredible predicament that now faces humanity. Here's a predicament, a pandemic. It's a predicament. We had to accommodate the pandemic. It didn't accommodate us. We could have, you don't say to a pandemic, I'm sorry, but I have a social life. You know, you don't, I mean, yeah, it's going to spread, okay? Like the next pandemic, which we will have, trust me. And the one after that. Because one of the messages that the universe is trying to get across is that you're all in this together. And that all life breathes together. And medicine is not political. All life breathes together. Now, what in accelerating our growth, we moved into this spiritual, what we call the spiritual age. This age of moving into what was called the New Age, if you remember, as we got into the nuclear age. If I could take us to a different place, I would say, look at all that happened. And I want you to look at it from a position of awe, of absolute wow. As if from now on that you see things, that they're all interconnected. They don't happen individually. They don't happen independent of each other. Everything that happens in every moment is interconnected. Now that is a mystical truth. It's also a biological truth. It's a universal truth. Okay, I'm going to hit a pause button. It just occurred to me. Keep me on this track though. One of the reasons it's so important for me to teach this is that it gives you an option. The way an ordinary mortal looks at something is through 5 senses. Through 5 senses. They look at the world and they take things literally, like what literally happened here. I want the literal facts. They take things personally. Literally, personally. And the moment you take something literally and personally, this is what you've done to your energy field, which, if you're looking at it through 5 senses, you can't see your energy field. You don't even know you have one. So you're operating in the dark. You think you're just a physical body, and that nobody's observing you, and that nobody can see through your energy field, and no one can recognize your archetypal patterns. See how naive you are? See how silly you are? So you're operating in this world that you take everything personally. Now let me translate that. What that means is you think this world was built for you, and that everybody here, their whole day is all about you. Their whole day is all about you. That's the world you're coming from. It's all about you. Did I say something wrong? Was it me? Was it me? Because it's all about you. And then you try to figure out one answer for every one thing that happens. What happened here? There must be just one answer to every one question you ask, because, well, that's how you do simple human mathematics. If there's one problem, there's only one answer. Now, I'm going to take you over here, and over here I'm going to turn you upside down. And I'm going to say, let's do this again. And let's perceive the world, not look at the world. Let's perceive the world first through your multi-senses before we get to the 5 senses. So instead of being on the caboose, I want you in your engine. I want you in the engine so that you look at the energy of something before you look at the form it came in. Before, even though you see the form, I don't want you to respond to the form. I want you to back off, like doing an intuitive reading, and consider the energy that created that form and is still creating that form. This is a new way for you to think. So it's going to baffle you and puzzle you. But I'm going to reduce it to something very simple. And the many times you've had a conversation with someone and you said, how are you? And they said, fine. And you said, are you sure? Because you don't feel fine. What are you picking up? You're reading the package that is around them instead of the form you're looking at. Can you relate to that? So you all have done it. So don't act like my words don't make any sense to you. They make total sense to you. You've just never applied it to everything. But it applies to everything. And that's that you look at the energetic data around something before you respond to the package it came in. So instead of saying there must be one reason for something, I wonder what all the energy has to tell me. I wonder what all the energetic data is talking about. This is what it means to become multisensory and impersonal about everything that's happening. So instead of saying, why did this happen to me? You drop the me and you say, why did this happen? What's going on? Because nothing is personal. You stop taking everything personally. We'll deal with this as the weekend goes on. But these are techniques, these are practices that you start initiating in your life where you get nothing is personal. How could this whole universe be my personal universe and everything around here be personally designed to make me either miserable or to make me happy? That's ridiculous. Size up yourself. You're a little grain of sand on a big ocean. You are not the ocean. So you can't behave like an ocean and you can't ask ocean-sized questions because you're not the ocean and you never will be. Together, we're the ocean, which is why we're all in it together. Okay, so back to, I'm trying to condense everything. I realize it's so much, and I'm sorry, I hope I'm not losing you. But for me, this is so exciting to realize that we're in this time where I think that we are, because we've entered the nuclear age, because we now have the power to destroy ourselves, how we understand ourselves has to shift and is shifting rapidly. We have to become a global community. Now, that said, come over here. There is no part of you that wants that. You may like it on paper, but you do not like it as an individual. Why do I know that? Because none of you likes the practice of holistic health. You might like it on paper, but actually practicing being a whole being, it's just not in the game plan. You are forced into it through pain, suffering, disease, and etc. but you don't like it. You'd rather be fractured, and you excuse everything you can to allow yourself to not hear your intuition, to not listen to guidance. When the guidance says, get up off your tuchus and walk, I'll start tomorrow, you don't listen. You sabotage your becoming whole all the time. That, come over here, is the micro to the macro. We sabotage becoming a whole planet because we don't want to. It doesn't matter that that's our way to survival. Something about it doesn't appeal to us. And that's what we have to examine in ourselves. What is it? Why? Does my becoming a whole person, as you examine yourself, you contribute to the whole. Becoming a whole being, and this is what I think the answer is, and that's that human beings make the transition from, we all start out experiencing love by loving stuff. I love this. I love my pants. I love that. I love my friends. I love things I can touch, taste, smell, hear, see. Love is tactile. Love is, I love my house. I love this. So love is associated with objects. The idea of just love doesn't make any sense to people. It must have an object. It can't just be. And so our first experience with love is blended with the love of the power of the objects we have. The love of power. The power I have to love someone. The power over the love of status. The love of this. The love of that. The love of bling. The love of this. This is how we experience love. But what we're actually doing here is making the transition from the love of power to the power of love. And that actually is the universal journey. And every single archetypal pattern in you, every single challenge can be the journey up your train. Every relationship you have, you can examine every single one of them within this description of my whole relationship with every single person is about expanding my capacity to love more. And so I'm somewhere on the spectrum of the love of power, meaning I'm still stuck in the power play level with this person. I'm still stuck at the pride level. I'm still stuck at this. To my capacity to empower someone with all the invisible gifts of the soul that I have. Are you following me here? Because if we're going to survive, if we're going to make it, we have got to get the truth that the reason we're here is to realize how powerful we are, and that power is God working. It really is the God spark in us. That love is actually the name we've given to what God feels like in the human experience. It feels like if we had a tactile identity for God, it is that feeling of love in all of its many expressions, which is why love is the power that we're most judicious about, most selfish about, most guarded about, most frightened about. It is love that brings someone back to life. It is love that someone will go the distance for. They don't go the distance for compassion. No, they do not. Or kindness, even though they're wonderful. But those are like toilet water compared to perfume. Same fragrance, but it won't work. Love is this, and that is why that sense of love, people are so jealous. when they see love being dished out to someone else and they think, but that's really, they know, get out of here, they know that love empowers another person. It's actually the greatest power. And it's actually that power when a teacher like Jesus or Buddha would say, look, it is light. This universe, like Buddha in Buddha language, this universe is made of this light. And this light can do it. There's nothing but this light. And Jesus would say, just ask for this love. And it comes from everywhere. It's everywhere. The more, it's like mystical mathematics. The more you get, that what you do to one is done to everybody else. That to love abundantly is to let this force flow through you. You get that even the power of one word in you has the capacity to heal thousands. You finally get how the mustard seed can bring down a mountain of hate. You finally get mystical mathematics. That's what this time is about. It's about us shifting our relationship with our own power so that we never again tell ourselves, I feel powerless. It's the last thing you are. Do you have any questions? Nothing? Yeah.
So thank you very much for this opening. So my question is then, if the assumption is that we are all in it together,
yeah,
and one is all and all is one, how do we then reconcile with the train and you and you get off my train?
Right. Well, you know, we are all one, okay? And at the same time, you know, the universe is full of divine paradoxes, right? And I think at the same time, what we're here to learn is how I use my power and my soul riding on a train next to yours. And I will make, and the quality of choices I will make, and whether or not I will abdicate my personal power because I want to speed along with your train, or whether I'll support your train, or whether, or you know, there's karma, I can't explain everything in the universe. All I do truly believe is that everything we do matters to the whole. I don't know how, I know that that is true. Secondly, the truth. Secondly, that everybody we encounter is not an accident. For some people, we encounter them for a weekend, and for others, it's for the whole of our lives, and for some people, it's a second. I don't believe any of that is without a choreography. Some people were meant to get on the train. Others are just sitting by the station as we go by. But somehow, in ways we will never understand because we can't, the quality of even our temperament that day, as we walk by someone, makes a difference. And the reason I remember, I have so many memories of things like this, but walking past, I walked past this man in Central Park many years ago, and he was raging with anger. He wasn't screaming or anything, nothing like that, nothing. But he was just seething with anger. Have you ever just been around someone who's just radiant? You know, when we walked past, I collapsed on the ground. I am not a wuss. I'm not a weak, spineless. I walked past and I went, oh my God, boom, I was on the ground. And he hadn't said a thing. We didn't make eye contact, nothing. And I remember turning around thinking, what the hell? And I had walked through someone so fractured that it just hit me. Which reminded me of someone over the weekend to talk to you about why protection's essential. Just take a note and remind me. But this is before I knew anything about that. Anything. But the quality with even which we walk past a human being makes a difference. And I tell you this not to, so you go, ooh, ah, but so that you get how powerful you are. And how you underestimate every part of yourself. Every part of yourself. That you just absolutely think, no, how many times you've said, there's nothing I can do, but what can I do? And if nothing else, by the end of this workshop, I hope to God you will never say that again to yourself. Ever. That you'll be able to say, I've got to change my thinking. I've got to think, I've got to create a powerful vision in my head about this so that I can, when I say prayers at night, for example, about the war in Ukraine, I picture myself standing in Kyiv praying. I picture myself standing there praying. I have a picture of Kyiv and I picture myself standing there. I refuse to think that there's nothing I can do. So I transfer my power there and I hold it in prayer. I refuse. When someone asks me for help, I visualize myself next to them when they go to sleep at night with my hands over them. I refuse. I will never tell myself there isn't something I can do. You need to understand that's how powerful you are. So that you always tell yourself every day, I can't afford to have this type of thought in my head. I can't afford to have a negative thought about my life. Or to start out my day angry. You can't afford to do that. Then that's what, I really think that as we go through this shift, I think that it may well be that this is the reason why there's an epidemic in autism. There's an epidemic in bipolar. There's an epidemic in neurological disorders because, as I will go through tomorrow morning in more depth, I don't want to dive into it now, but I think that we are shifting our relationship to our capacity to sense realms of energy. So if I'd said it different, all right? And another way to put that is that we're shifting from a horizontal world to a hologram, all right? Now, that requires different neurological wiring. It requires that our neurology get wired differently so that we can perceive, so we could actually see. There was a time when human beings couldn't see pastel colors. And they know this because it's just solid colors painted on the walls. So we had to develop the capacity to see pastel and the more subtler colors. And now we know that there's a whole realm of ultraviolet colors in this, but we can't yet see, but we will be able to see those. So it's like we are evolving into that, but it's also that realm that with all of those, that incredible color rainbow of ultraviolet and those colors, each one of those colors is a vibration that relates to our emotional intelligence, our intuitive intelligence, our mystical intelligence, our past lives, our future lives, our simultaneous. All of that is shifting our relationship to the speed at which we experience the passage of time. That's a big thing to talk about. So we're actually recalibrating the speed of time, our relationship to time, and our relationship to our capacity to comprehend something. Our relationship, the faster we comprehend something, the faster we make a choice. The faster we make the choice, the faster things change, and it's going like this. So we're moving into simultaneity, and that will accommodate our capacity to see through the veil and perceive past and simultaneous lives. We will, none of us, live to see us make that evolutionary leap. What we are is on the foothills of this is where we're going. But because this is where we're going, it's in this early stages where some of the people are getting the wiring and others are not. And the early people getting the wiring are not being supported because there is no language to support mystical medicine. That has not evolved yet. There's no language to support the mystical anatomical system because this is why it's so essential that you develop an understanding of the nature of God as love, light, and law, and not an off-planet being that has a religion. There's no such thing as God and a religion. Humans have religions, and you have to get out of that and get into the organic universe where the nature of God is law that goes everywhere, every galaxy, light goes everywhere, and that the highest choice of that light is love. This is where we're going this weekend. Got it? All right. So my homework, what time is it? Huh? Okay. All right, I've got to wind this down. I can take a question or two. Yes. I'm sorry?
What's your definition of love?
What's my definition of love? I don't have a definition. I mean, it's like, what's your definition of water? You know what I mean? I think you have to act out and live your definition. You can't speak it. You know what I mean? It's the capacity to feel what another person's feeling. It's the capacity to shut your mouth and not say something that's not necessary. Love has so many endless expressions. To give more than take. It's endless. It's endless. In my case, it's the capacity to be patient. Yeah.
Can you keep your hand right? I don't know where I'm going.
This is Beth.
So sorry. Hi. So I have a question about discerning when nothing is personal, but when you decide someone has to get off of your train, there seems to be, to me, a question about whether or not you are receiving or giving love to that person in the right way. And how do you decide to do that if nothing is personal? Does that make sense? Does my question make sense?
No. But try it again. Just ask the question without trying so hard to edit yourself.
So if you're asking someone to get off your train,
Yes.
how can that not be personal?
Okay, well done. Very good. Now see, that was a simple question. All right, first of all, you get to a place where you realize life is about people getting on and off their trains. There's nothing personal about that, is there? Is there anything personal about understanding that?
No.
Right? That's true for everybody. If it's true for everybody, it's not personal. Like gravity. You're going to jump off, all of us, if we got on the roof and we jump, we're all going to fall. Is it personal?
No.
Is it personal? No. If you took it personally, now wouldn't that be foolish? It just is the law. So one of the laws is that people, life, karma, sets up, while we may say, I will love you forever. Ugh. All right. Oh, did I do that? That's just our insecurity. That's the love of power. I must have power over you, so I will put you under a spell. If you leave me, I will die. If you leave me, I will die. Okay? So I will put you under a spell. And that's just our insecurity. And when you realize, look at the way I talk. I'm casting spells everywhere I go. Someone's going to say, get off my train. Loving you is like getting flypaper on my shoes. I can't get rid of you. And those damn Hallmark cards. And take them with you. Get out of here. If I ever see one of those cards again. And it's not personal, because here's the truth. Anybody who sends me one of those cards is someone I never want to see again. And by the way, it's the truth. This is the real me. Beth will tell you, this is the real me. Don't ever talk to me that way. Got it? It's not personal. Don't manipulate me. It's not going to work. It's my law of the land. And in exchange, I don't manipulate. Beth, is this not me?
Absolutely.
This is me. These are the rules. You want to talk to me? Talk. If something's not okay, I'll say it. If something's not okay, you say it. Don't ever manipulate me. Not going to work. And I don't ever do that to you. So it's not personal. If you have rules like that, and someone breaks a rule, and you say, you got to get off my train, because this is like a rule. Everybody who messes up on the floor has to get off my train. It's not personal. There's the sign, don't mess the floor. There's nothing personal. Now do you get it?
Yeah.
Now, your next question, what this is...
No. When you say there's a rule that applies to everybody, and if they don't follow that rule, then they have to get off your train.
Yeah.
It's not personal. I get it.
It's not. But here's the art. Now there's the rule and there's the art. The art is that you really get that it's impersonal. I am the one that has to get it's impersonal. I am in charge of maintaining the impersonal. Make a note that we talk about this tomorrow at length. Because it's one thing to say it's impersonal. I am in charge of being able to maintain that law equally, including myself. Including myself. That it's incredibly challenging. You have it that you this is where, and let me go this way. When you decide, I get that forgiveness is the way to go, and I get why. I can't make exceptions because I don't like someone. I have to hold myself there. Because it's like I don't want to see that truth, because I don't want to live at that level, and I don't want to have to forgive people that I think are 4-star flaming butane assholes. Okay? And they may think the same of me, although I can't see how. But when you get to that level, and you get, no, this is a cosmic truth. Then you have to live it. You have to. And when you can't get there, it's not their fault. That's part of living this altitude. You have to yank yourself, sit down and say, what is it that you can't do with this person? And yank the barbed wire out of yourself. Because it's not them, it's you. All right. I am so happy to be here with you. And this is a gorgeous place, and so we're going to have a wonderful time. I'm going to send you off for a great first dinner, and I'm hugging all of you. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much.